Good morning, beautiful souls. I will just chill out and wait for a little bit for some lovely souls to join me. I was just feeling inspired. Good morning, my BJJ sister. I see you. I see all the work you're doing as well. You're shining bright, sister. Just jumping on here today, feeling inspired to talk about ancestors. We all have them. We all came from them. We would not be here without our ancestors. You literally would not be alive without your ancestors. And just feeling called to tap in on this topic after my little journey to my ancestral lands yesterday. I was just really feeling called to connect with the land where my granddad is from, Scotland. I feel like I'm quite lucky to be able to have a mix of ancestry. I feel we all have a mix of ancestry, actually. The deeper we go into learning about ourselves and diving into ourselves, you'll kind of see that. But for me personally, I have ancestry from Scotland. My granddad is Scottish, from my mum's side. So my mum's parents were Scottish and Irish. So my grandmother, my mum's mum, was Irish. Both my granddad and my grandmother moved to New Zealand in the 60s. So they had my mum. And then my dad, that side of my DNA, is from the Solomon Islands. So I have this really, I think, magical lolly scramble of ancestry. And to add on to that, I was born in the Solomon Islands, so I had this really amazing upbringing of the islands, the South Pacific, surrounded by coconut trees. I remember going to our village, often as a child, jumping off the bridge into our river, being in the canoe, my cousins diving out into the ocean, bringing back fresh fish, my cousins climbing the coconut trees. So I had that sort of memory, which was amazing. And then when I was 5, I moved to New Zealand. So I have this upbringing of being in that beautiful, powerful land as well. And basically what I kind of wanted to tap in about is the power of connecting with our ancestors. And by connecting with ourselves, we connect with our ancestors because our ancestors are us. And in the journey of healing, I feel like when we know where we're from, when we know where we kind of come from, it can really help with knowing who you are in this world. If we go to the solar plexus chakra, which is the root chakra is at the very bottom, where if it's balanced, you feel safe in the world. The next chakra up is the sacral chakra, which is your sexual energy, your creative energy. If that is balanced, creation flows easily. And then above that is the solar plexus chakra, which is the yellow one. And the solar plexus chakra is about you knowing who you are, and through that you take action. So I feel like, when we have an understanding, good morning, dear soul, when you have an understanding about where you come from, what your ancestors' journey was, what sort of trials and tribulations they experienced, where they got to, how they got, for me it's been really interesting learning about my ancestors and how they came to New Zealand. And for me, living in this land in Birmingham, where I am at the moment, I'm very lucky having an Irish passport. I'm able to live in this land. But for me, the reason why I kind of moved here was to really have a deeper connection with my ancestors, and not just them sort of spiritually, but the land. I really believe when we kind of and this may not be for everyone. If you feel called to doing this, then this may be for you. But I really feel like when we can really connect with the land of where our ancestors have lived and existed, you take on, I'm getting goosebumps like talking about this, but you take on a whole new level of evolution. What I really learned, something I learned about the importance about knowing where we're from, when I was living in New Zealand, Aotearoa, before I moved to London a few years ago, I did a te reo Māori language paper at university, and it was an introduction to te reo Māori, and that is the Indigenous language of the Indigenous people of Aotearoa, New Zealand. I thought for me it was like really important. I felt that it was very important to learn about. I felt it was very important to learn about this language of the land I was living on. Like if I was living in France, I would want to make sure I knew how to speak French. If I was living in Germany, I would want to make sure I knew how to speak German. For me, it's just like giving respect to that culture. So in learning Māori, I found this really cool thing that Māori do when they speak. Whenever they speak, they do what's called their whakapapa. And your whakapapa is basically your lineage. Whenever you speak if I was to introduce myself in this conversation, or if I was speaking at an event or something like that, I would say my whakapapa. And what that is my lineage. So I would say my name, I would say my river, I would say my mountain, I would say my maunga, my awa, I would say who my parents are, who my grandparents are, what boat, what waka, what canoe I came on to Aotearoa, who the chief is. Like, it goes on to so many levels. And in sort of learning that, it was cool because I was able to do my whakapapa, and I did it in relation to my Solomon Island whakapapa. And I realised kind of in doing so, like, it's actually so important for people to know these things about themselves, to be able to trace back to where they're from, because what that does, I feel, it gives you the sense of belonging. It gives you the sense of knowing who you are, and it gives you a sense of inspiration as well. Like, when you learn about your ancestors, it really takes you down this really inspirational path of like, wow, my ancestors did that thing, my ancestors survived that thing. Like, if they can do that, then I can do this, you know. If they could go through those trials and go through these tribulations, like, I can do whatever I'm finding challenging in this current moment. So I feel like since I've gone down that journey of learning about my ancestors, it's like the connection has got even stronger. And now I'm at a place where when I go to these lands where my ancestors are from, I feel like I don't need to necessarily go to the land to feel the connection now. Whereas before, I felt like I needed to go to the land just to learn about my amazing ancestors, my benevolent ancestors, the ones who, and the not benevolent ones, you know, they all existed for a reason. But yeah, so I was feeling the call to go to Scotland yesterday. I heard a song last week that had bagpipes in it, and I just felt my whole body vibrate and just felt this energy of like, yeah, I had this calling. You've got to go to Scotland. And my granddad, he passed left this realm nearly 2 years ago, and I just kind of had this vision of him on the road playing the bagpipes to me, and he was like, yeah, come home. So I feel like when he was saying come home, it was like a come home to yourself, because when I went to Scotland yesterday, I was like, yeah, this feels so just homely. And it's cool to see now, because where I'm living as well, came back home yesterday here in Birmingham, I feel home within myself now, so that really I see now that no matter where I go, home is in here. And sometimes we have to go through that journey of looking outside to come back to ourselves inside. And I feel like when we have that connection with ancestors, we can ask for help, ask for guidance, because they're literally there to always help us. They literally are there, and they want to see us shine. They want to see us be happy. They want to see us be abundant. They want to see us living our fullest potential. So if you haven't thought about it, about connecting with your ancestors before, and you're seeing this and you're kind of a little bit interested, this is your sign to dive deep into the world of your ancestors. Let yourself be inspired. Let yourself learn about who you are, where you come from, the land that you come from. That was the other thing I wanted to tap into, is like, the land is very powerful. There's a very powerful connection between you and the land where your ancestors are from. So I was speaking to my partner about this the other day. Like, if you think about your ancestors, right, the whole lineage before you, they died, right? So when they died, where did their bodies go? It went into the land. So if we are made up of the elements, earth, fire, wind and water, when our spirits leave our bodies, our physical bodies, our physical matter is still here. And what happens when our spirit leaves our bodies, the body starts to decompose, just like a plant. Outside in nature, a plant dies and it decomposes and becomes soil. So if you think about it that way, it's pretty amazing, because when you go to these lands where your ancestors are from, they're physically in the soil. And I just get goosebumps thinking about it, because your DNA, your cells, your body feels it. And I remember the first time I went to Scotland a few years ago now, I felt that straight away. I felt that so powerfully. And also when I went to Ireland, where my granny is from. So yes, this is a message from your ancestors, from my ancestors, to go out there, dive deep into your ancestry, dive deep into who you are. Because then once you do that, you kind of get to this next level and this next layer where you see that we are all the same, the collective. We literally are all so connected. And then you don't have this sort of urge, or the ego's not so obsessed of like kind of feeling into I'm this culture or I'm this culture, and really like holding on to that for dear life, because then you see like, we are all just connected. So a beautiful journey of diving deep into yourself, deep into your ancestors, deep into who you are and where you come from. And yeah, the ancestors are calling. The wisdom from the ancestors is being called back to you. You just have to be open and willing to listen. So sending you all so much love, my dear beautiful souls, and have the most beautiful day, and look forward to connecting again soon. Much love, much peace, and much joy. Much love.